Hey, Saj Hussain here, also known as the Property Joint Venture Expert and your partner for wealth creation through property. In this video, I want to share with you my 5 top tips on entering any negotiation. So whether you're speaking to a seller of a property, you're negotiating with them directly, whether you're speaking to an estate agent, it may be, for example, an investor you're speaking to, negotiating a joint venture, getting them to invest with you, whatever it might be, negotiation is one of those skills that you really need to understand and master to increase your success within property or any aspect of business for that matter. So let me share with you my 5 tips before you enter into a negotiation. The first one is, and you may have heard me talk about this in different contexts as well, but it's about getting people an opportunity to get to know, like and trust you. Why is that so important? Well, people will do business that they know with. People will do business with people that they know, like and trust. If you can go into a negotiation, you've had an opportunity beforehand, before even going into the negotiation, have given them an opportunity to get to know you, like you and trust you, then you massively increase the chances of having a successful negotiation. Because remember, people will do business with people like themselves and people they know, like and trust. So how can you do that? Well, some of it's in your communication beforehand, how you connect with people. Let's say you've never met the person beforehand, you can connect with them online through social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, connect through there and send them a message, just get to know them a little bit before you actually go into the negotiation. So giving them opportunity to do that. And let's say you're going into the meeting but you haven't really had an opportunity to do the getting to know, like and trust you bit, then what you want to do is spend some time in building some rapport with them, is really getting to know them and talk to them, learn a little bit more about them. And what that will do, that will massively help you increase your chance of success in that deal. So let's talk about now tip number 2. It's starting with the outcome in mind. So why is the outcome important? Well, you may have read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It talks about starting with the end in mind. When you're clear on where it is you're trying to get to, it makes it much more easier to work towards achieving that particular target. So when you spend some time beforehand thinking about, okay, what you need to achieve, what you need to try and get to is the target that you want, then that means your conversation, your thinking will all be much more focused. And then whilst you're doing that, think about the boundaries of how flexible you are prepared to be within that transaction. So for example, let's say you're speaking to an investor about investing money with you, you're just going to borrow some money as a loan, and you're thinking, well, when we go beyond 7%, 7.5% maybe is the ceiling of paying a rate for money, it's no longer viable for you at that point. If you know that before you go into the negotiation, what it means is you know at what point it doesn't work for you and you're prepared to walk away from that deal, because you need to know what your walk away point is going to be. At what point is this deal no longer viable for you? So it's knowing the boundaries of how flexible you can be, how far you can go, because you don't want to be caught out during the negotiation trying to think on the spot, can I do this, can I not do this, is this going to be the right thing? Because you're not going to be in the best frame of mind at that moment in time to be making those decisions. So you want to do this beforehand. You want to be very, very clear in terms of what the boundaries are of how far you're prepared to go with that deal, and look to try and create something that's a win-win, that works for everybody involved. Because ultimately you want to create a situation where people leave and they're very happy that they've got a great deal. You're happy, the other party's happy that this works for everybody involved. What you don't want is to be able to use influence and persuasion at that moment in time and get them to agree to something because you've used some amazing ninja mind tricks. But ultimately they leave away, they reflect on that, they sleep on it, and then they start having some resentment. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is make sure you create something that's a win-win and works for them and works for you as well. So I'm just glancing at my notes here. So let's talk about number 3 now. Number 3 is understanding that there's different personality types. Not everybody is the same. There'll be people that that your friends, that are very, very different in terms of their personality compared to you. And it's knowing that means that you are able to understand that not everybody works at the same pace as you. So I talk quite fast, but not everybody else talks quite fast. Not everybody else will listen fast. So it's about adjusting and understanding and working at the pace that somebody else might want to work to. What is it that works for them? So for example, if you're not familiar with DISC, D-I-S-C, just Google that as a personality profile test. It's not that you're going to hand this test out to somebody and say, hey, I'll sit this test, let me understand what you are. But there's certain language people use. It helps understand how they are. So for example, if you're talking to somebody and they're saying words like, let's see what that will look like. Now that personality might be different for someone who says, that sounds good to me, versus somebody might says, yeah, I've got a good feeling about this. Seeing, hearing, feeling, these are all different traits within a personality in terms of how somebody thinks and how somebody works. Somebody might be a very big picture person. They're thinking, do I like the idea of working with this person, the concept of working with this person? And they can be driven by your personality. Is that something they connect with? Do they resonate with that? On the other hand, somebody might be very detailed, and if you're working at a very big picture level, on a conceptual level, they're not going to grasp the details is what they need to make the decision. Now, just by understanding there's different personality types, knowing a little bit more about the person you might be negotiating with, or the group of people you might be negotiating with, you can ensure that you address all the different personality types and make sure that you're connecting with everybody effectively. So let's now talk about number 4. Number 4 is having data on the other side. So what I mean by that is understanding more about them, what they want, what they're looking to do, why they're entering this negotiation, as much background information as you possibly can. These days with internet and social media, it's so easy to collate information, to get an understanding of somebody's business, what they're doing, the kind of things that they might be looking to achieve from this particular negotiation with you. And then put yourself in their shoes, put yourself in the shoes of the other party that you're negotiating with, and try and see things from their perspective. What is it that they're looking for? What is it that they're trying to achieve? What's the outcome that they're looking for? So you can try and understand their perspective, rather than what we normally do is we push on to somebody what we want and what we want from them. So thinking about the other side, what it is that they might be looking for. And then during these negotiations, there'll be things that, for example, might not be of high value to you that you can give within a transaction, rather than or things that, for example, might be high perceived value for them. So let me give you an idea. Let's say, for example, I'm for example doing some mentoring or on some training and mentoring program. If I've got a mentoring program and somebody was trying to negotiate with me, it doesn't happen very often. I don't negotiate very much when it comes to mentoring. But let's say there was a negotiation happening there and somebody wanted more time from me. Now, the time would have a direct impact in terms of how much I can contribute in terms of what I'm giving away. It's high value for me, versus I could provide them recording for an event or some training that I've done beforehand that I might be selling for £500-600. Now that has high perceived value for the other party in terms of the information, the training that they're going to get. But for me, it means it's something I've done once and it's not a high value contribution from my part. So it's thinking about what's a high perceived value item for them within the negotiation. So I hope this stuff is making sense. You find this useful. Now let's talk about the last point, number 5, is asking good quality questions. I think this is a mistake many people make, that when you go into negotiation, they focus on them and what's important for them. What you have to do is think about what's in it for the other person. And we've been given 2 of these and 1 of these for a reason, because we need to be using them in that proportion. We need to be asking very good quality questions that are going to give us really useful information about understanding them, so that we can answer after we've heard and understood what they're saying, rather than quite often people will hear something but they're preparing their answer, they're thinking about what to say rather than what's being said to them. Hope this is making sense. I'm explaining this in the right way. So one of my most favorite questions here is asking the question directly. So tell me, what is it that's most important for you about us doing business together? If you ask a question like that, it's a really deep question. It helps people think carefully about what is it that's important. Why do I want to do this transaction? What do I ultimately want to get from doing this deal, from entering into this partnership arrangement, whatever it might be. So look, I hope you're finding this stuff useful. This is really just a little bit around negotiating. Some of my 5 tips that I've shared with you in terms of what I like to understand before I go into negotiation. Just to summarize very quickly, I'm just having a quick look at my notes here. Number 1 is give an opportunity for people to get to know you, like you, and trust you before you ever enter the negotiation. Number 2 is start with the outcome in mind. Think about what is it ultimately you want to get to, and be clear about that before you even start the negotiation. Number 3, recognize that there's different personality types. People are different, and you may need to adjust in terms of what you're saying, how you're saying things, how visual, animated you are, how detailed you are in information, so that you're making that connection with other people. Number 4 is having good quality data on the other side, understanding more about who it is that you're going to negotiation with, the business, the individual, the group of people, learning more about them, what they've done, their background, their history, what their outcomes might be, what they want to achieve. So having good quality data on them. And number 5 is asking very good quality questions that help you really understand the other side. Now, these are things that really you'll be doing before you even go into the negotiation and start the negotiation. So look, I hope you found this really useful. Just a quick video just to share with you some of this stuff. Now, if you have found this useful, on Tuesday the 16th of July, so next Tuesday, at my monthly property meetup, what we'll be doing is spending the whole evening focusing on negotiating skills when it comes to doing property deals. That's whether you're finding a deal direct from a vendor, you're speaking to an estate agent, a letting agent for a rent-to-rent deal, speaking to an investor about raising cash, a joint venture, whatever it might be. Remember what I said earlier is about negotiating is a very, very important skill that you need to understand. So we're going to be dedicating the whole evening to that. And I'm going to be bringing a guest speaker that's actually my personal mentor when it comes to closing deals and sales. So you'll be learning not only from me, but from my mentor as well, who'll be there on the evening doing a presentation, sharing his knowledge and experience on how you can close more deals effectively. So look, make sure you book yourself onto that. To get more information, it's www.sajhussain.com/networking. You've got some more details on there, and I look forward to seeing you there on Tuesday evening. We'll meet from 6 o'clock. The presentation will start at 7 o'clock. As usual, we're expecting about 100 people there. That's the capacity of the room. When we reach that, we'll cap it and close the ticket sales. So make sure you book early, because pretty much every month I've been running this event, we've been full. And that means that tickets are not being available on the day. That means you can't get in if you leave it last minute. Book yourself on, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday on the 16th.